Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Peggy Weber, and I'll be bringing you the story of Bishop Mitch Rosansky's pastoral letter on evangelization.
I'm Steve Kiltonick. Although the Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral high schools haven't physically merged yet, the athletic teams have. All of the stir of the Pope Francis Cardinals' inaugural season.
And the Mother Church of Franklin County completes a major renovation project. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel from Holy Trinity Church in Greenfield. Hello and welcome to Reel today as we come to you from Holy Trinity Church in Greenfield. This Franklin County parish recently completed a major renovation project. We will have more on this from David Martin coming up. But first, on Ash Wednesday, Bishop Mitchell Rosansky released his first pastoral letter, The Wideness of God's Mercy. The letter focuses on evangelization. The bishop sat down with Peggy Weber and some members of the local press to talk about his important message to the people of the diocese.
With words of welcome and love, Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky has issued an important pastoral letter. He said the wideness of God's mercy was in honor of the Year of Mercy, but also a direct response to the people of the diocese.
When we began this process of looking at our evangelization, one of the suggestions was to reach out to people, both those who are in the pews and those who are Catholics but not practicing their faith, and to ask them different questions about their perceptions of the faith or perhaps why they don't practice.
He noted that the diocese received more than 3,000 responses and that many people took the time to write comments or questions. He wanted everyone to know they had been heard.
It was evident through many of the responses that came through in the questionnaire that there were people who were still hurting over the closing of parishes, the closing of churches, who were still hurting over the sexual abuse scandal.
Bishop Mitch writes plainly yet eloquently in his pastoral letter. He also writes with feelings, as he states, "So before I ask anything of you, let me, as your bishop, be the first to apologize and ask your forgiveness."
As bishop, as the representative of the whole church, really in the Diocese of Springfield, I felt that those words of both humble asking for forgiveness and of acknowledging the pain needed to be addressed.
In 2,300 words, Bishop Mitch says he is trying to set the tone on how to welcome, evangelize, and show mercy.
So the pastoral letter is, for me, the linchpin for all of our parishes on how to make a pastoral response to the survey. What the pastoral letter also does is issue challenges to our parishes to say, these are some of the comments that people have made. Now it's our turn to think of creative ways. How do we address those comments? How do we address the different situations that people face that may prevent them from coming to church?
Bishop Mitch has so many wonderful phrases in this pastoral letter. One of my favorites is that business as usual will no longer work or be acceptable. He is stressing that he wants this to be different, and he wants us to be a more welcoming church. Bishop Mitch says he looks to Pope Francis as an inspiration and an example of how to reach out.
As our society has changed, it's not enough to say, here's a church or here's a parish social center, and we expect people to come and fill them. Pope Francis tells us we can't stay behind the walls of our churches or of our rectories or of our parish centers, but rather we need to reach out. I mean, this is a different era. This is a totally different era.
Bishop Mitch's pastoral letter will be delivered to more than 60,000 homes throughout the diocese via the Catholic Mirror. He is earnest and focused about this letter. He said in it that the evangelization effort is not just a one-time effort, not just another program. a challenge and an invitation have been issued. He writes, "We must walk beyond our parish boundaries without fear to demonstrate the faith we celebrate in liturgy take form in the reality of the world around us." For Real to Real, I'm Peggy Weber.
It certainly sounds like the bishop is embracing this year of mercy. And you can also read a copy of the pastoral online by going to iobserve.org. The pastoral is also available in the current edition of the Catholic Mirror and also in parishes. Here in Franklin County, Holy Trinity Church in Greenfield is known as the mother church of the county. The parish was founded nearly 150 years ago in 1868. Parishioners here waited patiently over the last several months as their beloved church was restored. Well, the waiting was over on January 31st when Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky celebrated 2 rededication masses at 8 and 10:30 a.m. He was joined on the altar by Bishop Emeritus Timothy McDonnell, along with Holy Trinity's pastor, Monsignor Ronald Yargeau, and so many other priests who have been so important to the history of this parish. David Martin has more.
Celebrating their past and looking forward to the future, close to 500 parishioners at Holy Trinity Church in Greenfield gathered for a special rededication Mass. The Knights of Columbus Council 133 led the procession into the Mother Church of Franklin County. The celebration marked the end of a 6-month renovation project at the 147-year-old church. Chief Celebrant Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky asked the Lord to bless the holy water created by his hand as a reminder of baptism and a symbol of cleansing the walls of the church.
The arrangement of colors and the beauty of this church and the way that it has been restored and renovated really truly brings out the beauty of God's temple and a fitful home for God's people to gather. So it's just wonderful to see that all of the work that has been planned for and worked on over these past months has finally come to its fruition, and in such a beautiful way.
Bishop Rosansky told churchgoers in his homily that the beauty of the architecture in the church is a spirit that they will take with them to share with the world as they offer the beauty of living out their faith.
Bishop Rosansky has been following this project. He's been here several times, but this was the very first time that he celebrated Mass and was the homilist at the 2 morning Masses. And Bishop McDonnell is the one who began this process and gave permission for the renovation of this hall and knew about the upcoming renovation.
Holy Trinity pastor Monsignor Ronald Yargeau said the church includes an improved sound system and newly constructed ceiling which allow for better acoustics throughout the church. After his homily, Bishop Rosansky blessed various parts of the church with incense, including the altar to remind others of the death and resurrection of Christ, and the pulpit, symbolizing the importance of the Word of God. Holy Trinity Church stands as a living memorial for those who have served the parish in the past and the many proud parishioners that are bringing their parish heritage into the future. Holy Trinity Deacon Channing Beat was on the committee when the parish celebrated its 100th anniversary, and he said the restoration project originated when they installed the sprinkler system in the church basement.
We were told by our local fire department was that if you're doing it here, you must do it throughout the entire church. And that was sort of a surprise, but it became the motivator to bring everybody together to get beyond a sprinkler system and the safety issues to want to update and bring our parish into the 21st century.
Deacon Channing said the deciding factor for the renovation was the upcoming 150th anniversary in 3 years. Parishioners raised $50,000 for the renovations that also included installing insulation and cosmetic work to the interior of the church. Parishioner Pierre Belhumer, the architect, said Eversource offered a rebate to the church for including LED lighting, and Berkshire Gas awarded the parish a $15,000 grant for insulation.
This is my parish family, and I dearly love everyone involved, and so it's a special privilege to be able to do a project like this for the people that are so near and dear to me. Pierre was also the architect for the last renovation project at Holy Trinity 30 years ago.
A reception was later held in the church basement, which was renovated 18 months ago. Bishop Rosansky hopes Holy Trinity will endure as a place where God's people can call home, and parishioners will continue to reach out to those in spiritual need, inviting them to become a part of the welcoming faith tradition at Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Greenfield. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
And the bishop says that when Holy Trinity marks its 150th anniversary in just 2 years, he wishes for them the ability to reflect on the legacy of those who have sacrificed so much to build up this divine and historic church here in Franklin County. A wonderful gift and an amazing worship space for generations to come. And still to come on Real to Real, Rebecca Drake will tell us what's in this issue of the Catholic Mirror. And Steve Kiltonick follows the first winter sports season for the Pope Francis Cardinals. These stories and more are still to come on this edition of Real to Real.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Gale and your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. Join Father Warren Savage as we begin our Lenten season. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News.
During this Jubilee year of mercy in the Catholic Church, we have an opportunity to refresh and renew our understanding and experience of the sacrament of reconciliation. I hope those who have been hesitant to go to confession, for whatever reasons and for however many years, will be inspired by the cover story in the February-March issue of the Catholic Mirror to be embraced by God's love and mercy once again. And as we journey through the season of Lent, the ministries and programs receiving funds from the annual Catholic Appeal will provide us with many ways to share the gifts of mercy with those in our midst who are hungry, cold, homeless, imprisoned, lonely, or otherwise in need. Among the faithful people of the diocese who extend God's mercy day after day are those in the parish community of North Adams. Their dedication and love of their church was evident during the bishop's recent visit to the northern Berkshire city. In other local news, now is the time to register for the upcoming men's and women's conferences and find out what national speakers will be featured this year. In our guest commentary, Father Jonathan Reardon, pastor of Holy Family Parish in South Deerfield, enriches our knowledge of the sacrament of reconciliation from a spiritual and personal point of view. And in his first pastoral letter as leader of the Springfield Diocese, Bishop Rosansky acknowledges concerns raised by the recent diocesan survey and invites all of us to work together to bring healing and hope to our church and our communities. Finally, for me, few interviews in my 20-plus years as a journalist have touched me as deeply as the one with Florence parishioners Janine and Thomas Clark, who have extended mercy and forgiveness after the loss of their eldest son in a car crash caused by a drunk driver. And for all of us as Christians, I believe each day, each act, each life begins and ends with the merciful love of God. At the editor's desk, I'm Rebecca Drake.
In Dublin City, people prepare for the feast day of love, Valentine's Day, without perhaps realising the extraordinary link that St. Valentine has to this place. For a church in the heart of Dublin City holds some of the remains of the Saint of Lovers.
St. Valentine was a Roman priest who was martyred in Rome in the year 269 AD. So a long time ago, but was very much associated with married couples. During the Emperor Claudius's reign as Emperor of Rome, he wished to extend his empire, and he believed that in order to do that, all his young men should be available to fight, and so he didn't want them to get married. Their strength was to be kept purely for the battlefield, and of course this presented a huge problem for the Christian church. For Valentine, it was most important that with the new Christian religion, that sexuality was kept within the sacrament of marriage. So he literally gave his life in order to achieve this purpose.
The saint's reliquary lies in a side altar of the Carmelite Church at Whitefriars Street.
Valentine, as I said, already died in 269. The relics came to Ireland in 1836, which is a long time later. And basically they were a gift from Pope Gregory to a Father John Spratt, who was a Carmelite priest based here in Dublin, but who in fact preached a mission over in Rome, and the Pope was so impressed by him that he gave him this most unusual gift.
On St. Valentine's Day, many couples renew their marriage vows and have their rings blessed here. But in fact, right through the year, the shrine is a place of pilgrimage.
Another of our petitions to St. Valentine this evening. St. Valentine, help John to communicate. So people travel to us from literally the four corners of the world to come and to see the reliquary and to pray here, and very often to write messages into the book that's on the altar and to pray for their various intentions, usually to do with relationships. There was this wonderful sight of a very young couple, and both the boy and the girl were standing there, tears streaming down their cheeks. But it looked as though he was after proposing to her. It looked as though she had accepted. And it looked as though the two of them were totally overcome with emotion, and Valentine looking down very benignly upon them. Well, I think Valentine speaks hugely about the importance of commitment, that love is not something that one has today and that one discards tomorrow, but that couples come to St. Valentine hoping that his blessing will ensure that they stay together. Commitment, endurance, constancy, and above all, belief in the sacrament of matrimony.
In just 3 weeks, the Diocese of Springfield will host the 14th Annual Catholic Men's Conference, a day for all men to rediscover and renew their faith. Joining me now to talk more about this event is Father John Reardon, Director of the conference. Hello, Father Reardon, and thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for having me.
So, Father, every year now you have packed the house with this conference, and that always has something new and energizing for men to look forward to and growing in their faith. Tell us, what have you planned for this year? And by the way, the conference is set for Saturday, March 5th at the Bellamy Middle School in Chicopee.
We have a great theme really planned for this year, a theme built around the diocesan initiative of evangelization. Do whatever you do in word or deed, do in the name of the Lord Jesus. So the idea is to kind of get the men who come, these guys who come on this retreat, not just to rejuvenate their faith, not just to do something for Lent, but to learn how to conduct themselves out in the world so that they can take their faith out into their homes and their workplaces and their communities, and really kind of coincides also with that year of mercy and how we can be agents of God's mercy in our world. And that conference theme this year is built around those initiatives and those themes.
Sounds great. Now, if men would like more information, and also if they still need to register, what do they need to do?
Simply go on our website, www.spfldmensconference.org. All the information is there, and you can register and pay right online.
All right, Father John Reardon, thanks so much, and good luck with the conference.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thanks for having me.
And as Father Reardon said, for a link to the conference information, you can go to our website at iobserve.org. For generations, the Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral High School athletic teams have competed as the Gales and the Panthers in their traditional school colors. But this winter, as part of the creation of Pope Francis High School, both schools took on a new look and a different name, mascot, and colors. Steve Kiltonick took to the court, track, pool, and ice to find out how the Pope Francis Cardinals are faring in this, their inaugural season.
Over the years, sports teams from Holyoke Catholic proudly wore the green and gold of the Gales. And likewise, Cathedral High athletes always displayed their traditional purple, white, and gold. But this winter, if you took in a sports event from either school, you may have done a double take. Gone are the traditional colors of both schools. Instead, it's the red and white that now grace the uniforms of the Pope Francis Cardinals. This 2015-16 winter season is the first time both schools have merged players and now compete as one united school. For years, Cathedral has been a perennial hockey power. As the only Division 1A program in Western Mass, they played all the elite hockey schools from the eastern part of the state. When the news of the merger first broke, Coach Brian Foley got some good-natured ribbing from his rival coaches.
I can't believe Cathedral's, you're not Cathedral. I can't believe you're not wearing purple and white, those types of comments. But, it's the same coaches. Other than the color of the uniforms and the name, nothing's really changed with the intensity of the games and the competition.
Because Holyoke Catholic never fielded a hockey team, all the players on this year's squad are from Cathedral.
It's exciting to be part of a new program. We just want to keep the same values we had at Cathedral Hockey, and make Pope Francis, hopefully a state powerhouse like Cathedral was.
On this cold January night at the Olympia Ice Center, the Cardinals skate against one of the top teams from Rhode Island, Mount St. Charles Academy. Seniors Joe Brosseau and Captain Cam Griffin understand the significance of this inaugural season for the Cardinals.
Honestly, it really wasn't a big change for the team. We're still all the same players who have grown in the program over the 4 years, and we have the same traditions and values and same coaches. When we put the jersey on, we're playing for that name, and really to play under Pope Francis, it's like a regional thing now.
I know my dad graduated from Cathedral, my grandpa graduated from Cathedral, and it's huge putting on a new jersey. It's a whole different thing, and I don't think any of us have an idea what it means yet. We're hoping to do our job, and we're going to start a good legacy.
With a record to date of 11-2-2, the Cardinals hope to peak when the tournament starts. At Smith College, the indoor track team is competing against other Western Mass teams. The Cardinal girls include 26 athletes from Holyoke Catholic and 3 from Cathedral. John Goda previously coached the Gales for 20 years.
There's definitely an adjustment the first meet when I saw the new uniforms. Took a little while to adjust to that. Our old colors were a little distinctive, but other than that, it's been same old, same old. Kids are great. Everyone was pretty excited coming into the season here for us. Setting, kind of establishing a new tradition, setting some new standards, and kind of moving into the future. So that's been kind of cool.
Lena Lark, who ran for Cathedral last year, is one of the team's best sprinters.
It is different not seeing the purple anymore, but you're still rooting for your teammates, so the only difference is the color.
Nicole Julian from Holyoke Catholic is the Cardinals' top distance runner.
We haven't gained a lot of new girls, but we gained a lot of new boys, and I feel like as a team we're just better, stronger. It was a little rough at first, but it's good now.
5 girls, including Lena and Nicole, went on to compete individually in the state championships. At the DuPont Middle School in Chicopee, the Cardinal girls basketball team gets ready to take on Taconic.
Dear Jesus, thank you for giving us this opportunity to come under the banner of Pope Francis High School.
This is the first season Dave Padovano has coached either a Holyoke Catholic or Cathedral girls basketball team. And although they have struggled, he has not let their record dampen their spirit. Of the 12 varsity players, 3 come from Cathedral and 9 from Holyoke Catholic. It's a young squad with only 1 senior. Padovano says this season has not been without its challenges.
It takes a little extra effort sometimes to meld them together as not only a basketball unit, which we're learning every day and making great progress at, but socially as well and being teammates as well.
Coach Padovano says everyone realizes the impact of this first season.
It's very special to all of us being able to put on the Pope Francis shirt and represent Pope Francis High. To me, being a devout Catholic, this is awesome. Just to be part of this.
Starting forward and co-captain Megan Goncalves has played 3 seasons with the Gales.
I've been used to wearing green and gold and being a Gale, and it's just like I'm meeting new people and making new friends, and it's a great experience to be a part of, and knowing that I'm on the first Pope Francis girls basketball team.
At the beginning of the season it was difficult because we didn't know anyone, and I was one of the few Cathedral people. It was mostly Holyoke Catholic, but getting to know everyone, it's been a really great time.
We're growing as a team, we're coming together, and we have a lot of younger girls on our team, so I feel like by the time they're seniors, they're going to have a very strong team, and that's all that matters.
At the Springfield Central High School natatorium, The boys and girls swim teams look to make waves in their meet against the Golden Eagles. First-year head coach Kyle Murphy said that although the boys and girls have one win between them, it's not because of lack of talent.
I really don't focus too much on the team score, more of individual swims and relay swims. We compete really well as individuals and as relays, but we just don't have enough people to really compete score-wise.
With only about half the number of swimmers that normally comprises a team, the wins have been few, but there are some bright spots.
Kristen Popowski, she's been a Super 7 swimmer for, I think, 3 years now. She's won Western Mass a couple times, made it to States a couple times, done very well at States. We've got Kyle Wolanski, who's a new swimmer this year, actually, but he brings a lot of energy, and it's really a pleasure to coach.
Kristen's best events are the 100 butterfly, 200 freestyle, and 200 individual medley. She says this group is really close-knit.
Even though we have not that many kids, we're really close and we're really like a family to each other. We have a lot of support behind each other, and we've done so many fast races this year.
Next year, Kristen will take her swimming towns to UMass, where she will compete for the Division I Minutemen. The boys' basketball team goes through warm-ups before a key matchup against Springfield Central High. Coach Justin D'Alessio, a former Panther himself, spoke about the hoopla surrounding the merger.
We were a little caught off guard, but it is what it is, and we were just happy that we still have a team, and the kids, they're just excited to be in school and play basketball, and I don't think they got too caught up in the name or the colors. If anything, I think they're excited to get new uniforms.
D'Alessio said the varsity breakdown includes 8 players from Cathedral and 3 from Holyoke Catholic. With the merger, Pope Francis remains a Division I school, playing in one of the most competitive leagues in the state. Junior Brian Callahan is the starting center.
It's a new start to a new school, and I'm glad to be able to start up the Pope Francis tradition and everything, and I think it's a good thing having the Holyoke Catholic guys come over.
While senior forward Andrew Foley says he would have preferred to have finished his career as a Gale, his new team has been a positive experience.
Playing for Pope Francis is pretty cool because we're like the first team to ever wear a Pope Francis jersey. So like every other Pope Francis team will be building off of us.
Foley said any differences that may have existed before the season have all but vanished.
The team chemistry is pretty good. At first, I think we kind of had to feel each other out a little bit, but I think now we're really good. We're all friends, really good friends. We all joke around, and it's not really like Holyoke Catholic players or Cathedral players anymore. We're just Pope Francis basketball now.
With a record thus far of 7-7, it's crunch time for the Cardinals, who hope to, as Foley says, make some noise come tourney time. This winter season has been a challenging but learning experience for coaches and players. It's hoped that the rich athletic traditions of both schools will continue as a new era begins for the Pope Francis Cardinals. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Wow, hats off to Steve for producing that piece. Great coverage. And for sports fans, the regular season comes to a close soon, but we can look forward to seeing how the boys basketball and hockey teams do in the playoffs, which will be coming up next month. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Our thanks to Monsignor Ronald Yargeau and everyone here at Holy Trinity Parish for hosting our visit today. As we continue through these weeks of Lent, remember you can find a copy of the Bishop's pastoral letter, The Wideness of God's Mercy, on iobserve.org, where we also have more information about ways to mark the Year of Mercy, as well as up-to-date news on the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world. And also, please friend us on Facebook. We are at Catholic Communications. And join me again next week at this same time for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.